Welcome everyone to Lotus Flower Wellness Temple. Here we are again on a Sunday, meeting up and fellowshipping, spending time together, sharing truths with each other and personal perspectives so we can all help to find our path to harmony. So welcome, thank you for joining us on live. Namaste. We're going to go ahead and get started. And welcome here, whether you're here physically or if you're on the live, we welcome you to continue joining. You have community that can help support you on your path, and so yes, everyone is welcome and loved here. We're going to start today with the Sambujo chant, as we do, and it'll be on the screen, and also we can follow along here. Actually, Quinn, I would really like it if you would do the leader part with me today.
All right.
Would that work for you?
Yeah.
Would you like to come up here?
Sure thing.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Rub it
I
out.
do appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, well, if you want to continue to help, I'm having a little technical difficulties. So would you like to do the next part? See?
Sure.
Yeah.
Alright.
And here's the flowers for you. Yes, and I'll work on this. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay. We respectfully welcome Amida Buddha to our temple as we scatter flowers of joy. We respectfully welcome Sakyani Buddha to our temple as we scatter flowers of joy. We respectfully welcome the Buddhas of all times and places to our temple as we scatter flowers of joy.
Awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate you, Quinn.
Likewise. Here we go.
Thank you. All right, so now we're going to go through the 6 paramitas. Starting with giving. May I be generous and helpful. Guidance. May I be guided by the Buddhist precepts. Tolerance. May I regard the mistakes of others with sympathy. Perseverance. May I do my best in all things. Insight. May I understand the meaning of Namu Amida Buddha. All right, and last but not least, the Bodhisattva vows. We're going to read part 2. May the many beings are numberless. I vow to save them. Greed, hatred, and ignorance rise endlessly. I vow to abandon them. Dharma gates are countless. I vow to wake to them. Buddha's way is unsurpassed. I vow to embody it fully. Thank you. All right. We are moving and shaking.
I want to thank everybody for coming. This means a lot to me, and I'm doing what I'm very passionate about, which is helping and healing people and helping people be guided back to their own personal truth and finding joy and happiness in the life now. So there are ways of thinking and just really simple kind of aha moments when you realize those, you can start to make little shifts and changes that really do affect your life on a grand level. And so being aware of those really can give you a real good shot at having some happiness and really finding your soul's path and purpose here in this lifetime. And that's my passion and my joy is to help people reach that. You know, enlightenment is something that's a lifelong process and it continually happens.
Okay, you see what just happened there. So I am still having technical difficulties. Bear with me, everyone, just a second. There we go. Yay. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for your patience. Awesome. Definitely a life skill that you need, though, for certain. All right. So we are going to be talking about the nature of the mind today. It's such an important topic, and so we are going to revisit it a little bit more. The nature of the mind. I'm going to start out with an intro video.
Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to yet another episode in Buddhist meditation series. Now in today's video, we're going to be discussing about our mind. Now as meditators, we all are dealing with this mind that is inside our life. Right? So we need to learn the nature and we need to learn how it works before dealing with it. Because you cannot control and you cannot be aware of something that you don't have any idea about. Right? So you need to learn how this thing, how this mind works inside. Right? So, our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, taught us what is the nature of this mind. Buddha said, Yena lahu parivattam yathaidam chittam. There's nothing in this world that changes so rapidly than the mind. The mind is the fastest thing in this world. It can travel so fastly, it can jump from one thought to another in split seconds. Right? It is the fastest thing on earth, in the world. So, we are dealing with such a fast thing, such a rapid, such an active thing. So that is why we need to observe it. Now, you all have heard of monkey mind. What is the nature of the monkey mind? Monkey is easily distracted. Monkey is easily panicked. It runs here and there. It jumps from one branch to another. It's screaming, and it hardly stays in one place. So that is the nature of the monkey mind. So we have to deal with this monkey mind. Now, in meditations, we have to, little by little, we have to take control over our mind. That is one of the main aims of doing meditation. Not to let your mind to wander here and there, and just teaching it and practicing it to stay in one place. So it same goes with catching and practicing a monkey to stay in one place. Right? You cannot go to the forest and catch a monkey and sit on it, keep it on a table and force him to sit on it, to be focused, to stay still. If you do that, your monkey will be distracted more and more. You cannot catch a monkey and put that monkey inside a cage and lock it to stay still. If you do that, the monkey will be more and more distracted. It will scream inside the cage. So, how to deal with this monkey mind? Well, one of the most important way and one of the most successful way to deal with monkey mind is to be friendly with it. Right? You need to be friendly with your mind. You don't want to force your mind and you don't want to torture your mind to do meditation. If you're forcing your mind to do meditation, then it is not a meditation, because the first part of the meditation is relaxation. How you can gain the relaxation by mere forcing, by torturing. First of all, be friendly with your mind. So how to be friendly with your mind? Now when you close your eyes, right, and when you start doing any kind of meditation, maybe breathing meditation, you are now breathing. And when you're doing breathing meditation, you are breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your nose, and you stay aware. But after some time, the monkey mind appears. And it will be distracted. It will run out of the focus, and it will start to think some other thoughts. You don't want to be angry with your mind. Don't be angry. Don't be frustrated. Be kind to that mind. Because it is the nature. Right? So when you become kind to your mind, you bring back your wandered mind, distracted mind, to the focus again with a friendly hand. Right? You don't drag the mind angrily. You just go there, you just be kind to your mind and ask your mind, now it's okay that you're thinking of other things, but let's go and think about the meditation again. Let's go and do the meditation. Then it will come back to the meditation, and then also it will stay for a little time. Right? It will stay for another maybe 2 seconds, 5 seconds. And again what will happen? The monkey appears. Right? So when it becomes distracted, you bring back again to the focus.
There's
right?
that patience.
If you're keeping on doing this again and again, that monkey, or this monkey mind will get used to stay at one place. But it takes a long, long time. That is why meditation is not an instant process. It's a slow process. Right? Every good achievement in this world, remember this, every good and successful achievement in this world takes time. It takes patience. It takes continuity. It takes hard work. So when your mind becomes distracted, what you have to do, don't be angry with your mind. Don't blame your mind. Don't be frustrated with yourself. Bring back your wandered mind again to the focus point of the meditation and continue the meditation. When it goes again to the other things, bring it back. Again, it will go for the distraction, just bring it back. Be friendly always, because your mind is yours. Right? You're loving yourself. You love yourself more than anyone in this world. That is why you're doing meditations. Right? That is why because of love, because of self-love, you're doing meditations. So you don't want to lose your self-love when you're doing meditations. You have to be kind, love your mind, and ask your mind to come back and do the meditation again. Then your meditations will be more successful and more peaceful than ever. So that is the special thing that I have to share with you today. So I wish you all, may all of you have, and may all of you experience a peaceful and mindful meditations in your life. Namo Buddhaya, Thiruvam Saranai.
All right. Yeah, everybody can agree. I think that the monkey is like, the mind is like a monkey. It likes to jump all over the place and do what it will until we can learn to get get it trained a bit, right? Not to do whatever it pleases. So, but it is wonderful to be here with all of you again today. And so today, of course, we are talking about the nature of the mind. The mind is both a source of our greatest joy and also our deepest suffering. I'm going to pull myself a chair. All right. So the Buddha taught that our minds are like a garden. Whether we plant in it, whether we're planting seeds of wisdom or seeds of delusion, we grow and shape the world around us by what we're planting in our garden, right? So in today's sermon, we are exploring the nature of the mind, the challenges that presents when we're doing this work, and how we can train our mind to be a source of peace, clarity, and insight. The Buddha taught us that the mind is naturally untrained and can often become overwhelmed with distractions. He also compared the untrained mind to a wild elephant, running here and there without any direction. Without proper training, the mind can lead us into a suffering, deep suffering, and perpetual cycles of craving, anger, and ignorance. One of the most profound truths of Buddha's teachings reveals that our thoughts create our reality. If our minds are filled with anger, hatred, and fear, these emotions color the way that we experience the world and the world around us. And we begin to see things through a lens of negativity and separation. On the other hand, when our minds are cultivated with loving kindness, compassion, and wisdom, our perception does shift. And shifts over to where we can begin to see the world as a more interconnected, peaceful, and harmonious place. This is why training the mind is central to the Buddhist path. The mind, when trained, is the right direction, and it has a power to transform not only ourselves, but the world around us. The Buddha provides us with clear guidance on how to train the mind, helping us to free ourselves from the bonds of delusion and suffering. So there are some hindrances that we should talk about. The Buddha identified 5 hindrances that construct the mind and prevent us from experiencing peace and wisdom. So we've got number 1 being sensory desire, the craving for pleasant sights, sounds, tastes, smells, and sensations. And then we have the ill will, negative emotions such as anger, hatred, and resentment. Then we have sloth and torpor, which is drowsiness, mental sluggishness, lethargy. And then we have the restlessness and worry, which is anxiety, agitation, and any inability to focus the mind. Doubt, that's our uncertainty or lack of confidence in the teachings or in our practice. So those are the 5 hindrances. The kind of, if you think of it, almost like the excuses that the mind makes for itself to continue in the way that it does. These are kind of things that kind of superimpose, and we make excuses for ourselves based on this. Oh, well, they agitated me, or I was very tired that day, or whatever it is. But when we can be aware of these hindrances and realize that either one or a combination of them are going to be kind of our obstacles, we could be a little ahead of the game there, right? All right, so for example, when we are overcome by sensory desire, we are consistently chasing after things outside of ourselves, hoping that they will bring us happiness. But the Buddha reminds us that happiness doesn't come from external, it starts from within, right? So it arises from within us. Similarly, ill will and anger clouds our judgment, and sloth and torpor prevent us from fully engaging in life. We recognize these hindrances as they arise and learn how to deal with them skillfully. We can begin to tame that wild elephant that we call our mind, right? So, or that monkey mind. The practice of mindfulness, now we're going to talk about a little bit. One of the most important practices of the Buddha that the Buddha gave us is to train the mind with mindfulness. Mindfulness, or sati, is the practice of being fully aware of our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions in any given present moment. So it is a key tool for breaking free of any habitual patterns that you may have, and any patterns that the mind may have that, you know, it's kind of go to negative thoughts and whatever. So a way to free ourselves from those is being more mindful of what we are feeling, what our sensations are, what are our thoughts, what's going on around us. When we practice mindfulness, we begin to see how fleeting and impermanent our thoughts actually are. We notice that our mind is consistently generating new thoughts, some of which are helpful and some are unhelpful for us. But when we observe the mind without any attachment, we can avoid being swept away by even any of the thoughts and the emotions that arise. So just understanding that whether it's a negative thought that's come in or a pleasant, positive thought, it is fleeting, and another one will surely replace it soon. So just be patient with yourself, and you can learn to slow that process down and still your mind. But it does take some dedication and some consistency of being aware of what's going on with you. So mindfulness does help create a space between our stimulus and our response. So instead of reacting impulsively or automatically, we can become aware of our inner state and choose how to respond with greater wisdom and compassion. This practice is transformative. It helps us to move from being ruled by our thoughts and being the observer of our thoughts, giving us the freedom to act from a place of clarity and calm. The practice of concentration is what we're going to talk about now for a bit. Alongside mindfulness, the Buddha taught us that the practice of concentration, which is the cultivation of a very focused and stable mind. Concentration helps us develop the ability to focus the mind on a single object, whether it is the breath, a mantra, or a visualization, and to keep that focus without any distraction for a certain length of time. And as you get better at it, of course, that number is going to get bigger. At first, expect that it's going to be quite low. And when you don't have expectations, expect, well, you're supposed to be perfect at this right away, and you give yourself that compassion and love, then you can be patient with yourself through the process, and then you're battling one less thing. That negative talk about how you can't do that, right? So just be in the present moment with it, and things will go a lot smoother for you. Concentration is like training a wild horse. At first, the mind may jump from one thing to the next. With regular practice, it can become steady and more disciplined. The ability to concentrate allows the mind to enter into deeper states of calm and insight. In these states of concentration, we begin to experience moments of profound peace, clarity, and equanimity. With mindfulness brings awareness to the mind's movements, concentration bringing stability to sustain that awareness. So they work together. Together, these practices help us to transform the restless, distracted mind into a calm, focused, and clear one. So one of the Buddha's key teachings is our thoughts are not permanent, and therefore they do not define us. We'll say that again. Our thoughts are not permanent, therefore they don't define us. So something that's not permanent about us can't necessarily define us, right? It's It's ever changing. So just let that one sink in a little bit. When we begin to understand the nature of our thoughts, seeing them as fleeting mental formations rather than fixed aspects of our identity, we can just let go of attachment to them. Thoughts will come and go, but they do not have control over our actions. In the Dharmapada, the Buddha famously said, "We are what we think. All that arises all that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world." The thoughts that our thoughts that we have shape our destiny and our reality. If we entertain thoughts of anger, fear, and negativity, we create suffering for ourselves and others. But if we cultivate thoughts of loving kindness, compassion, and wisdom, we create the conditions for peace and joy. So training the mind means learning to let go of unwholesome thoughts and cultivate those that lead to more of a well-being. By practicing mindfulness and concentration, we begin to gain the ability to direct our thoughts to where we want that aligns with our highest values. Over time, the training allows us to develop our mind in a way that is working in a skillful way for us and not against us. So in conclusion, I do invite you to reflect on in conclusion to what I was just talking about there, I do invite you to reflect on the nature of your own mind. Do you allow your thoughts and your emotions to control you? Is that something that happens a lot for you? Do you train your mind to be a source of wisdom and peace? So if the answer to question number 1 is yes, I do, well, guess what? Then the latter would be something that you might want to consider working towards, is training the mind, because it is the way that you are going to get that power back over something that is causing you some discomfort and suffering. So if you can see the connection and it just takes a little work and effort, imagine how much work and effort it's taking you to go through all those negative thoughts that are consuming you. So you're just shifting the same amount of effort to something that you're choosing, which is powerful for you. And it's going to bring you peace and harmony. And then it's going to be something that is going to be learned as your new habitual way. And then you're not going to have to worry about that anymore, because that's going to be your pattern. So it's not going to take as much work and effort. It's just going to be something that is a part of you that's flowing. All right, so I've got another little video here. Kind of cutesy.
This video is for those people who struggle to control negative thoughts in their minds despite their best efforts. If you are one of those people, then make sure to watch this video until the end to fully understand the message. Once upon a time, there was a man who felt really sad and worried all the time. He went to see a wise Zen master, hoping for some help. He told the master, "Sir, my mind is always filled with negative thoughts. No matter how hard I try to get rid of them, they won't leave me alone. Please give me some advice to make my mind calm down." The Zen master listened kindly and then took the man to a nearby pond, where some people were washing their buffaloes. Because of all the movement, the water was muddy, and it was not possible to see through it. The master asked the man, "Can you see the bottom of this pond?" The man said, "No, I can't see anything clearly." So the master told the man to go into the pond and try to see the bottom. The man went in But the more he moved around, the muddier the water became. Even when he put his head underwater, he could not see a thing. Feeling disappointed, the man came out and said, "I can't see anything in water." The Zen master smiled and asked the man to sit beside him. They sat quietly by the pond, and as time passed, people stopped coming to the pond and the water started to calm down. Eventually, the mud settled at the bottom and the water became clear. Then the master stood up and asked the man if he could see the bottom now. This time, the man could see clearly to the bottom of the pond and said, "Yes, sir, now I can see the bottom of the pond clearly, and even I can notice some small fishes swimming around." Then the master explained, "My friend, just like the pond, when you try too hard to push away your bad thoughts, they become even stronger, like the mud getting stirred up. This is the law of reverse effect. When we desperately search for something, it becomes harder to find it. Similarly, when you try too hard to stop your negative thoughts, they actually become stronger. So, instead of fighting against them, just let them be. By not resisting, those thoughts will gradually lose their power over the time and fade away on their own. Therefore, never fight with your mind and try to find peace within yourself by allowing things to naturally fall into place." The man understood that he did not need to fight against his negative thoughts. Instead, he needed to find peace within himself, and eventually, those thoughts would fade away on their own. If we see
All right.
I want to thank everybody for coming this. I want to thank everybody for coming. This means a lot to me and happens.
Okay. Namaste. So I want to share something with you that can help you during meditations, breath work, mindfulness, just to still your mind, quiet yourself, and allow more access to hear your higher self. Yogena tutasha bodhivatra Travashadi Kena Yopakurat Dim Rabadam Bodhidam Patanjaliam. Okay, if you guys have anything that is a recurring thought that's been going on, something from your energy that you would like cleared, if you could just be mindful of that thing and just seeing it go away from you, or being released from your energy. And I'm going to go around with each person. Awesome. Change the frequency. You're basically a human's transmission tower, transmuting a frequency with your thoughts. If you want to change anything in your life, change the frequency by changing your thoughts. Your past thoughts have created the life that you are living now today, and your current thoughts are creating your future life. What you think about or focus on most will appear as your life. So if you constantly think about the past, you will recreate those situations. Pontificate this for a while today and see how it can help you in your life. Also become part of the family by joining the channel and like and share so we can share Reiki healing of the mind with others. Namaste. Awesome. Yeah, that's very fitting. We have more power than we take charge of, and so the mind does tend to do a lot of the work that we could be a lot more in power of with a little bit of effort. We could learn to get the mind in a place where it is in more peace and harmony, and and that's the work we're doing here. So thank you so much, all of you, for being here with us for this message. This is a really important one because so many people just bring so much suffering to themselves through the racing mind, the monkey mind, and there are ways to fix that, alleviate that little issue that causes us so much suffering. So. Alright, there's some different products and services that we have here at the temple that can help you on your journey. Awesome. All right. Namaste. I want to say thank you all for everyone for coming today. I just love you all and just so glad that you keep coming back. For those of you on the YouTube Live, if you haven't subscribed and hit the notification bell, please do so. And then that way you don't ever miss any time that we go live. Anyone at home there that would like to stay, if you'll give us a few minutes, we're about to transition into our podcast where we all discuss personal perspectives and maybe some integration from last week to this week. So just hang tight if you would like, and we're going to get everything set up. So. Okay. We're going to plug in. we are all in there. We are getting better at this, huh? Yay, all right. So let me grab my stuff. Hi there, y'all.
Hello,
Welcome
ma'am.
in. Hi, we're Lotus Flower Wellness Temple. We are a public charity, so please make yourselves completely at home. And let me move this chair. We just had temple service, and we're about to be doing a little podcast right now. But y'all, yeah, you're good to go. Y'all just make yourselves at home. Let me know if you have any questions. You're welcome. Okay. Let me just make sure if I can hear us here. Testing. Yep, we're on. All right, thank y'all so much.
Thank you for stopping in.
Thank you. All right. Namaste. Welcome to the Lotus Flower Wellness Temple podcast, where we talk about many things that can help with harmony for humanity. We just finished up our temple service for today, and this is where we discuss personal perspective on what we discussed today, and then maybe some integration from last week to this week, and we just come on and share some love. So I'm Erin.
I'm Quinn.
Miguel. All right, so welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for joining me. Does anyone want to go first on any perspective of what we talked about today?
I think I can start.
Okay.
Definitely, that whole allegory of the sad man is something that I have personally experienced, like having these negative thoughts that just come back again and again. And sometimes, it feels like, you're trying to release them or to let them go, and they just, they become stronger and all that sort of stuff. And it's something I used to struggle with a lot more, but, over time I've become a bit better at being okay, it's just something that I have to let go of over time. I have to, allow my mind. I need to accept that my mind right now is not really in a state that it's able to entirely let go of this emotional distress, and just kind of allow it to settle, allow it to run its course, allow it to go through this, and then once it's gone through what it needs to go through, then I have more of the power to redirect it.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that. This is a big one. There's not a person on this planet that at least at some part in their life has struggled with this. Now, there are people that have gotten their mind under a good amount of training, but the mind's always gonna have its nature. So it's never something just like enlightenment. It's always something that you're gonna have to be aware of and watchful of what kind of things get kind of reprogrammed in there. Every single thing that we do from moment to moment, there's so much going on that we might not even be aware of, or that we are consciously taking in that's going on around us. So this is an active job. It's something that we have to continually be aware of what's going on within our thoughts, and definitely love ourselves enough to be aware when things that are not pleasant for us are going through our mind as well, and then kind of loving ourselves like that child self, and with some compassion and some just attention.
Yeah.
Some attention, just like a child needs attention when they start acting out. If you can think of the mind in a similar way, it's trying to tell you something. So pay enough attention to figure out what it's trying to tell you, and then do your best to give yourself some love, and then soon you'll be thinking about something else.
Right.
But it is a moment to practice.
Yeah, and I think that happens, it happens a lot that, like, we'll realize after the fact, or, like, maybe even in the moment that, like, oh, I'm in a mood right now, or I was in a mood right then. Like, I wasn't really thinking clearly, I wasn't really, and I think it's really, it's a mature thing for people who can, like, recognize that and be like, okay, well, my mind is currently going through this. I need to take a step back, or I need to take some time before I, like, speak to somebody and end up, hurting somebody because my mind is currently going through this.
Yes, well, that was very, very kind of you to consider others and how that might affect others as well. That was very beautiful. Because there are kind of consequences for if we let our negative thoughts build up on us. That can start to make it feel a little more comfortable to be negative, and then we could start getting more erring on the side of, then our behavior starts to shift more to a negative. So it is something that you don't want to get too comfortable in being,
Right.
feeding it without giving it attention and love and trying to redirect to something more positive.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that, like, you have to be kind of careful about making decisions when you're, like, in that kind of a state, because
Yeah.
sometimes, you'll be a little bit too hasty, your mind's racing, and you'll end up making decisions that you regret.
Yeah. Yes, nice point. Thank you so much for sharing. And Miguel, would you like to share some personal perspective or insight for us on what we discussed today?
Well, I personally suffer from this, like, a lot, because I get easily distracted, and I'm just always second guessing myself, just always regretting my past mistakes, and it's just like I've got monkey mind real bad, and it's like I just it's something that's always eating at me, it's like my past mistakes and my past thoughts cause me current suffering, and unless I, like, completely, like, do a 180 and just, like, change those past thoughts and, avoid past mistakes, I will continue to suffer future suffering. And so obviously I don't want that. So, it's best to just, love myself, just forgive myself of, the bad things I have done, and just, just, look over it, and, just because our thoughts are fleeting, and temporary, so, like, it's best to at least feed your mind with positive thoughts rather than negative thoughts. It's like, it's a cycle, because if you keep feeding yourself garbage, that's what's going to come out as garbage. So, it's like,
Right.
so, it's best to just, feed yourself good thoughts and, be positive, and that's what will come out is, just, the love and the positivity. The positivity will far outreach even yourself, and, it'll have a domino effect.
Right.
Right.
And I to go even into, like, about the scientific side of things, when you have a pattern of regularly thinking negatively, of worrying, of feeling frustrations, at least, like, a certain number of times per week, or, like, certain times of day, your mind comes to sort of crave that, almost like nicotine. Like, it's, and that's why it sort of brings these thoughts back to the fore. Like, it's, it's kind of craving that, the chemical that comes along with those negative thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's a habitual, something that
Yeah.
you're used to. You're used to that. So, with that being said, right, the breaking away from that habit, you can see why it would you would naturally try to keep pulling yourself back in. But when you realize that you're almost like addicted to being that way, then, you know, taking yourself out of those thoughts when they're arising with love, how many times do you think you have to do that before now that's becoming more of your habit as being aware, and then now you might transition from that trying to then all of a sudden now you're at the, oh, naturally I'm starting to think positive thoughts. So it is a process that does take some dedication, but naturally you're going to move up that ladder of success from going to they ran me to now all of a sudden now I'm catching them to all of a sudden, oh, now most of the time my thoughts are positive, but sometimes they're negative, to wow, I haven't had a negative thought in a while that I didn't laugh at, to be like, ha ha ha, you're just trying to catch me slipping. So it is a process, and you can almost think of it like a little game almost at first. How many times in a day can you catch yourself from doing something that you're not desiring to do?
Right. And I think it definitely does help to stop, like, judging those thoughts when they come. Because, or judging yourself for having those thoughts. Like, because, it's not, ultimately it's not helpful. It kind of feeds into that same kind of spiral whenever you're like, oh, I shouldn't be thinking this. Oh, why am I thinking this? Like, this is so bad that I'm, like, this even comes to mind. It's like I've been trying so hard to stop this, and why is this happening, and all that sort of stuff. It just adds to the spiral. It just feeds into that negative energy rather than, like, just being kind and just kind of like guiding yourself into some more positive thoughts gently, and not even worrying that you lapsed into that period of thinking negatively.
Yeah. Yes. Nice share. Absolutely. Yeah, that's certainly something that everyone can be benefited by, is to be more in tune, in alignment with what is even really going on in the mind of ours, and when you don't tune into it, there's so much going on, but when you're aware, you start paying a little more attention, you can start to see how much is going on, but then the focusing on it actually is one of the things that help to slow it down some. So it does take being aware and focusing and putting your attention on what the thought is, but like you said, without judgment. So we do definitely need to be more aware of different things that are going on. And then you may also see some triggers. You may learn by being more aware, you may see certain things in correlation with these thoughts that you wouldn't have had any insight about at all if you didn't start paying attention. You could just focus on, oh, I'm having negative thoughts again, and not be aware of what is connected with that.
Right.
Because you can learn a lot with this mindfulness, with this choice to be paying attention to that monkey mind of yours and what's going on in it. So yeah, being more aware of the connections and the things that are going on around you as well, to try to pay attention for certain triggers can be helpful as well. Would you say that that's something that you might maybe benefit from, is trying to see if there's certain things that are triggers for you that might get your mind going more than others or whatnot?
Yeah, definitely. Because, I mean, I've learned that, like, when I thrive on the negativity, on the things I don't have, on, just somebody hurt me or I hurt somebody else, it's like, then I'm allowing the thoughts to control me. But once I get a good understanding of what's eating at me, and I start focusing more on the positivity and the goodness and being grateful for what I do have and helping others, then now I have control over the thoughts, and then the thoughts control me.
Yeah.
So
And that is powerful. That is a confirmation to yourself as well that I am not these things I'm telling myself. I have a lot more power than I give myself control or the credit for. I have a lot more control than I'm giving myself, feeling, a victim or feeling like I have no, ability to stop this. So, these confirmations, this attention that we're giving to ourselves, it literally does create these confirmations of experience that we are way more capable than these thoughts are telling us sometimes. So.
Right. And sometimes it's just like accepting that, what you're used to, what is routine, does not have to remain that way. Like I recognize that, like, I can easily fall into, like, distraction, Even if I don't fall into negative thought as much, I still fall a lot into distraction. So something I need to recognize is that I have the power to get up and to go and meditate or to do something else, and that whatever I'm distracted by in the moment, I can come back to it, at any time, at any way, at any point, I can come back to it. I can still engage with that thing I'm enjoying, or whatever is distracting me. And, it's a power that I have. It's something that is possible for me to do. I don't have to just go with the flow of, what I'm used to.
Yes, correct. That's a very good point, right? There's a time and a place for everything. You can go back to something else, even if you're. And I think like basically what you're saying is maybe the mind's like, oh, but I want this right now.
Mm-hmm.
But no, not right now. I'm doing this, but later we can have this. Almost back to that child, how you would parent a child.
Yeah.
And they want something right now.
I'm definitely, the way I've grown up, I'm used to providing my mind with instant gratification, So, it takes a bit of training, a bit of work to be like, hey, let's stop this, let's get up, let's go ahead and meditate, or let's go on a walk, or let's do, some fire gazing, let's do something that, maybe it's not as entertaining on, a personal level, at least not yet, but it's something that benefits my soul, it benefits me, it helps in my growth, and then I can go back to, reading whatever I was reading, watching whatever I was watching, so on and so forth.
Yeah, and also, not that we should ever guilt or shame ourselves, but we tend to do it sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that moment of discipline actually later will take off some of that guilt that you might habitually put on yourself for doing certain other things.
Oh, definitely.
So that kind of comes into play as well there.
Yeah. If you go on long enough without, properly, taking care of yourself or, doing things that you should be doing, it comes to start to feel like, oh, well, I'm helpless to change my patterns because, you'll try time and time again, and you'll find yourself falling back into it. But really, you just need to recognize your own power to just get up at any point and be like, no, I can change this right now, right here. I can do something that's better than what I'm doing now. And then I can get back to it whenever I choose.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, we can. Awesome. Well, does anyone have anything, integration or anything from last week or from last week to this week, or anything else you might want to discuss now? Good.
I think I've brought up what
Okay.
what
Awesome.
comes to mind.
Miguel, same.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
pretty
right.
much.
Well, we just want to say thank you so much for our listeners, and we try to do temple service right after temple service. We try to do our podcast afterwards, and soon we'll be separating the two to where we'll have a separate channel for the podcast. But right now, this is the way we're doing it. So we just want to hope that you are enjoying and benefiting from the conversations that we're having in alignment with the growth and the work that we're doing together here, transforming our lives and getting our power back and control over our minds and just living in the path that's going to bring us to more harmony, less suffering, and eventually enlightenment in our lives, and moreover, just having happiness in our lives and having some power back over our day-to-day reality. So that's what we're doing here. So namaste. Thank you all for joining, and we will see you next time. If you haven't subscribed, please do so and hit the notification bell so you can keep up with when we go live. All right, have a great one. Bye-bye.
All right.
Namaste. Let's get the little tear on there. I'm going to take a look at a couple of these comments real quick. Yay. Yay.